Welcome to Seat Time, everybody, the off-road show that brings you all the results, news, and online shenanigans that make being online a good time. We'd like to say thank you to Fly Racing for their support of Seat Time. Please go check them out at flyracing.com. Welcome to Seat Time, everybody. Brian Pierce here. Welcome to our Tuesday evening show that we like to bring you guys. It is 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. I just had somebody in the chat room tell us, you have me until Sons of Anarchy comes on. I mean, that's at least some kind of commitment, I have to say, so why not? We'll go with it. Thank you very much for paying attention. This is Seat Time, the online show for the off-road enthusiast. So if there's any chance that you either ride dirt bikes, enjoy dirt bikes, thinks being off-road's cool, and then again, like to have a few beers and bench race about how much better you are when you're bench racing, this is definitely going to be the show for you. So we thank you very, very much for paying attention and for tuning in with us. If you're watching us live, thank you, one. Make sure you share out the link, seattime.co/live, for anybody else out there who possibly could tune in right now and tune in for our guest and also some of the other things that we have going on. If you are not and you are archived, that's okay too. Just remember there's still links that you can use to share that with people if you happen to enjoy something that we said or maybe something that our guest said. Honestly, they're probably going to be the ones that have the more interesting things to say. I just try to organize it in a way that makes it watchable. We'll see how it goes. So Seat Time. The website is seattime.co. That's where you can find all the archive shows. Of course, we are on Facebook. We are on Twitter. We are on Instagram. You can search for us there with the Seat Time. Bam, it's going to come up. If you want to use a fun hashtag while you're watching live or while you're archived with it, Seat Time Live is always a good one. It sounds dumb talking about hashtags, but you know what? First world problems. That's just the world we live in nowadays. Hashtag. That's what's going to happen. Of course, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's actually a really good way to be updated with not just when we put up live events, but as well as we do put up other videos. I say that because we have been putting up videos from the Baja Rally. So 2 weeks ago, we put up the time lapse of building the 1986 Suzuki SP200 for the Baja Rally. Yes, I rode that son of a bitch 300 plus miles. It was awesome. Of course, we did as well this week put up the helmet cam footage from day 2, stage 2 of the Baja Rally. We shortened it to about 14 minutes. That sounds like a long-ass time, but the actual stage was just under 3 hours long. And you want to know what's even more batshit crazy? We actually have that on YouTube, too. That's for the hardcore people, I think, that literally enjoy pressing pause or watch later and come back on different devices. I don't expect the numbers on that to be very good, but hey, it's there. I make lots of mistakes. If you want to laugh at me, that's probably the way that you should go and check that out. Of course, you can find us on Stitcher and iTunes as well. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for the fine folks at flyracing.com, Stillwell Performance, and Fast Company. So Fly Racing, you can tell I've got my camo shirt on. Thanks, Dale Spangler, for making me look like I'm a hunter. And as well, I have hung up some shirts and hoodies that they have sent me. He's like, I'm not going to send you the best looking stuff. I'm going to send you the gaudy stuff. And I was like, hey, that fits my personality. We'll go with it. Whatever. So I wanted to showcase that for you guys. 2015 gear. I did get to wear some this past weekend while racing at the TCCRA race. I was extremely excited because I didn't wear a fanny pack, belt pack, tool pack, whatever you want to call it, and my pants didn't fall off. That in itself says a lot because I'll be honest, some of the 2013, 2014 gear, that was an issue. I felt like the waist wasn't high enough in the crotch. My balls were getting all jumbled up in there. This time, no ball jumblage. My ass didn't come out. My pants stayed on and my jersey was tucked. That's the way you want your gear to be, so go check it out, flyracing.com. Of course, Stillwell Performance that can make your suspension suck less, make it ride better, be faster, and be just as cool as all the other guys that run it, specifically Cody Webb and, all the other badasses like myself. And Fast Company, they make flex bars. Flex bars make sure that your hands don't hurt, you don't get blisters, and you have much less excuses, just like myself, even though I still come up with quite a few of them. Oh, man, I think that's a lot of talking. I apologize for that, but I was kind of on a roll. I'm getting ready to have a little bit of my Tennessee whiskey that I've got because of my sore throat, see how that kicks in. But our first guest this evening, I'm going to try pronounce his last name. I did not ask him how he pronounces it, so we'll see how it goes. Kyle Hangos, how's it going in the northeast Bostonian-ish kind of area?
What's going on, man? It's going great out here.
Yeah, so, okay, how do we actually pronounce your last name?
All right, so you can say it a couple different ways. You can say Hangus, Hangos, but everybody seems to say Hangos.
Hangos?
So that's what I roll with.
All right, we can go with that. Hangos. Hangos, I kind of like Hangos because it makes me think of Angus Young and like Back in Black and like fucking AC/DC. Is that
Right.
Has that ever happened, or did I just like make that up in my head?
No, you're right on point, man. I used to get that back in school. They used to call me Hangus, Hangos, Angus Burger, whatever, you name it.
Yeah, you're like
They have a bunch of stuff.
with accents like that. I would imagine that you guys get called all kinds of crazy shit.
Oh, yeah.
It happens. So I'm going to touch on some highlights right now about what you've been doing. So you're currently 4th overall in the JDay Offroad series. On top of that, though, you have won the past 4 in a row. You're currently winning the Pro 125 class at the JDay Offroad. You won the overall at the JDay Sprint Enduro, and you won the last Netra event, which is a Hare Scramble style event, a little bit different from JDay, but still off-road racing. So, Besides winning, what the hell else have you been up to? Because holy shit, that's impressive stuff going on.
Dude, honestly, not much at all. I just been working a lot, riding when I can, which really hasn't been much. To be honest, I haven't ridden in like 2 months straight. Maybe I've ridden once, but not much, man. I just show up on Sundays, rip it up, and do my best, and that's about it. I really can't give any credit to it.
That's really impressive. Yeah, that was going to be one of the things I was like, a lot of the times, you know, you kind of see, like, say, like, let's look at Trey Kennard. Trey Kennard this past summer was running air forks. He got rid of the air forks, went back to spring forks, and all of a sudden he was kicking ass. It's like, now, was it really the air fork, spring fork difference, or was it just because he changed something and so it kind of got him going, you know what, this might be the thing, and it was just a mental game, and he really was just doing better because he was like, I can do better. So I didn't know if maybe there was something that you changed either in your program, you found out that, you know, that illegitimate child that could have been yours just actually wasn't. I mean, there's all kinds of that could go wrong or even better in your life that might change for the better or worse. Probably in this case better since you're doing better, but I mean, so nothing like that, huh?
Right, man. The only thing I can tell you that might be it is I went back to a suspension setting on the 250 from like 2 months ago from the Jolly Roger GP, and I've left it there since, and it's felt awesome. So I'm thinking the bike feels good. I'm leaving it. I'm running it, and that could be a lot of confidence too.
That's interesting. Okay, so you do really, really well, obviously, winning the Pro 125 class, and you do extremely well in the typical Pro class as well. Now that you've won the last 4, you're also 4th overall. That's very impressive in my book and awesome and stuff that you could, like, you know, shout at the mountaintops about. So
for sure.
How different are those setups? I can ride a 125, but I could not tear ass on one like you do. So I don't know if, like, when you go, okay, I'm switching bikes, like how different are they? Do they feel that different? Or, I mean, if you jumped on it and just sat and squished and moved around, would they feel almost like the exact same bike?
I mean, if you jump on the 125 from the 250, you really can't feel much of a difference because I got them set up pretty much the same. But once you get on the bike, it's way different. The 150 is a little underpowered, obviously, but you know, the 125 sticks different a little bit in the corners. It's lighter, it's more nimble, stuff like that. So, I mean, you can obviously hammer it a lot faster, and sometimes I feel like I can hammer it a lot better, and I feel like I want to race that. But when it comes down to it, the 250 is always going to have more power. But yeah, there's definitely a big difference there.
Yeah, I ride a 300 XC 2013 KTM. Before that I was on the 09 250. I really enjoyed being on the KTMs. And that's one thing I've noticed, that it seems that all of JDay nowadays is enjoying being on KTMs. So if I remember correctly, were you on Suzuki's or at least on an RM 125 or kind of a couple years ago?
Yeah, when I first started JDay's, I was ripping the RM 250 two-stroke.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. An RM 250. I passed a couple of those in the vintage class this past weekend at the TCCRAs.
Oh yeah.
I was in the vintage race though, so it totally makes it okay because I was on an 81 Can-Am. So don't make it. I wasn't just like talking shit because I was on new stuff. It was badass.
Those things are basically vintage about now.
Yeah.
Most vintage now.
So Explain to me a little bit what happened. We've had some JDay guys on in the past. We've talked about the KTM horde that has come about, and when Bob Santham, and I know I'm just totally botched his last name, is he's like the holdout. You know, he's got a really great deal with the Kawasaki's, really enjoying him, and with the shop that he works at and stuff, and that's okay. That's great. I have a couple friends that are on KX 450s, absolutely love them. But what's the deal there with the KTMs? Like, why do you think, as a rider and as someone who's really, you know, ingrained in the series, that KTM has really done such a great job kind of taking over at the JDays?
I think for sure they're sick bikes, and they make an awesome woods bike. So I think that has a lot to do with it. But last year when Johnny G, or the year before when Johnny Dreer won on the he had the YZ250 out there, it seemed like everybody wanted to jump on the bandwagon and rip the Yamahas out there. And now you see Johnny on the KTMs, and he does really good. And once you see a few other pros switch, I think, you know, everybody starts to see, oh, well, this kid can win on the KTM, so maybe that's what I need to win out there in the woods.
Right.
I think that has a lot to do with it too, but I mean, I'm not knocking the KTMs as a bike. They're awesome bikes, and I think just they got a really good program right now.
I would imagine that you get some, you know, I don't know if you get help or anything like that, and how in depth you could go about talking about other bikes and stuff like that. But so Yamaha just released that they're going to have essentially a straight up competition when it comes to the KTM XC and the XCW line in their new the 250F, the 250FX essentially, and then the new WR 250F. They're based completely off of the YZF 250 frame engine bike, really, opposed to what used to be, where it was always kind of the WR model, and you had to mod it to make it fit with the YZs. What do you think about that? I mean, that's going to be a complete competitor to what we're seeing so far in like the ready to race with the KTMs.
I mean, I think that it won't be a competition unless they make a two-stroke over here in New England.
Oh, that's true. You guys do rule the two-strokes over there.
There's like maybe what, two or three's pushing it for four strokes in the pro class.
That's
right now.
That's pretty intense. Why is that? Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think it's just the New England terrain. It's two-stroke is perfect out there, and for the JDays, how it's so fast-paced and crazy. I think the two-stroke, it just fits it perfect.
All right, so here's a question for you then. We were talking about influences and stuff like that. Say Johnny G. Say what's the name of y'all's KTM rep?
Brooks Hamilton.
Brooks. Okay, so say Brooks goes to Johnny and says, "Hey Johnny, you're doing great. It's awesome. 2015 350 XC. That's what I want you to race next year. I'll give you a better deal on that than I have on the two-strokes. Cool? Yeah, sure." And say he goes out there and just like totally whoops ass on that thing. How do you think that would influence that? Do you think that they would still be we're always going to have diehard two-stroke fans. That's never going to go away. I love them. Yeah. They're great. But do you think that even that, like what you're seeing now, that there would be then a swing to four strokes, or do you think that the New Englanders for some reason are just diehard two-strokers?
I don't know, man. I think they're just diehard two-stroke fans all the way, but you might see a few guys jump ship. If you can get those four strokes dialed on the starts, then I think you'd see more guys do it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I when I got rid of my 09, what was it, 2012, when the 2013s came out and got the 300, I was really, really, really wanting to get the 350 XC. It's just that I just really enjoyed the two-stroke, and I was like, screw it, I'm just going to get the two-stroke again. But now I think I'm going to do it. Hopefully by the end of this year sometime. Crap, it's already October by the end of this year. I don't know when. Then I could sell the two-stroke, save a little bit of extra money, and I'm going to try to get a 350 XC. Now that it's been 5 years on a two-stroke, it's kind of like, all right, cool, let's go spend 2 or 3 years on a four-stroke again, just to kind of do it, because for me, I'm a 30-plus, expert rider, 30-plus A vet rider. If you wanna go there, I'm a vet rider. And I enjoy it. I went to TCCRA this weekend. I raced in the vintage class on an 81 Can-Am 400, and then I turned around and like just drank some water and hydrated and went out and raced, the 30 plus overall A class and got third. So it's like I just enjoy doing it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not out for the series. I've only made like 2 or 3 TCCRAs this year, but I love it. So I think like going to a 4-stroke could just be like that way to change it up and have fun with it for me. Now, obviously, if you guys feel more comfortable on a certain bike, then that's what you're going to want to ride. So,
right. I don't know. I think it's good to switch it up sometimes. If you're getting bored with the 2-stroke, hell, hop on the 4-stroke and see if it changes your attitude towards riding or racing.
Yeah, it could change it completely, and I'm like, damn, I hate this thing, and nobody wants that. I don't think that could happen, though. I really don't. I enjoy kind of this vintage thing. What was do you guys have like a vintage class up there at JDay, or does anybody kind of come out on maybe a little bit older bike kind of on purpose just to rack around on it?
No. JD doesn't have a vintage class, but we've had a lot of people saying John should come out with a vintage class because there's a lot of diehard vintage dudes up here in New England too. But I don't know. You see a lot of vintage. You see some vintage guys out there. I actually the first year I did JDays at the last race at Central Village, I pulled out my '97 CR125 and raced against Johnny G and all those guys in the Pro 125 class. It was pretty fun.
Oh man.
I still got it too. It's all done up. My dad wants to sell it, but I'm trying to keep it.
Yeah. Now that was like heyday for CRs too, wasn't it? In those late '90 models.
Oh yeah, '97 was the best one they ever made.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I was 97. I graduated high school in '97, so I was just going to kind of like that transition from high school senior into college freshman and living in a dorm. So I had a mountain bike and that was it. So there's like no dirt bike, no nothing. So that was like right when I kind of started to lead in more on mountain biking and stopped racing as much. I mean, like, no car, living in the dorm rooms. How are you going to get to races? It's like, that sucks. So,
right.
You make it happen.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to know, we've talked to some JDay guys. From here in Texas, we enjoy the series. We really do. It's fun to watch. It's so different. And I think it's so different. I don't know if it's just having never been to the race. I don't know, one, if it really is like JDay's the shit. It's that effing awesome. Or if it's just so different from what we have that we're like, oh my God, I want to do a JDay. Either way, you have our attention, and we are very, very interested in your series. And that's why we enjoy talking to you and the other JDay racers so much. So, what do you think, Mr. Hangos? Like, what do you think it is about JDay that has seen the popularity and the growth just rise so much throughout the past couple years?
I think it's like a little bit of everything of what you were saying. I personally think it's awesome. Straight up, I think it's great. It's different too, and I think that's what makes it so popular. But John does an awesome job with social media and hyping it up. He's really good at stuff like that. But I don't know. People seem to love it. They love the courses. They love the format. They love everything about it. I'm a fan, but yeah, I just think everything that's going on in New England right now. If people get tired of motocross, JDay's right there. If people get tired of doing long woods motos, JDay's right there. So it's kind of in the middle. So if people are tired of one thing, they're going to JDay. It seems like.
Right. I have a sneaking suspicion that I don't want to say it like that because it sounds like I'm coming across negative. I'm not trying to be negative. I wonder if JDay, taken out of the badass terrain that you guys have, how much it would still catch on. And I only ask that, again, because we don't have really anything to compare it to here. So say if you came to Texas, where like this past weekend, some of the track was blue grooved. It was so beat up and old and just breaking bumps all over the place. But we're not talking like breaking bumps like what we see in the videos that you guys have. And it's just, I don't know. And so I'm wondering how awesome y'all's races are because of the terrain and like the brownie dirt that we were just talking about a little bit ago before we went live. Like that kind of stuff. I know personally that I gravitate to those videos because of the fact that I'm like, damn it, I wish we had that kind of terrain to ride on. So I wonder if like some of the magic, if you will, for us outside of JDay is the fact that it's like, why do these guys always have such perfect terrain?
Right. If we went to Texas and we put on a JDay, we could definitely make it happen. But I think whether we got rain or not, we'd have to water the course probably, I think. If not, I don't know. I think we could make it work, but it's definitely the terrain out here. The dirt is always moist. It's always perfect.
Moist. That's just a great word. My wife hates that. Yeah, moist. Word of the day.
But yeah, I think if it was to branch out to other parts of the country, I think down south would be tough, but it would work, I think.
Yeah, and it seems like as long as you get the right people involved and have a like-mindedness about wanting to create something special, I think, I've seen in some of there's only one series that I've been like really, really involved with, and that was Toro. That was kind of our winter series for a little bit from like 2008 till, I don't know, a handful of years ago. That was about 3 or 4 years. I mean, since then it's changed a lot, and a lot of the other organizations have changed, and they're trying to make changes and trying to figure stuff out. I just feel like enough people don't really know what they want to create. They just make changes to make change. They're not making changes to try to create a vision. They're just kind of like, oh, this doesn't seem to be working, so let's go ahead and change this and make it something else. And my whole question to that is like, well, why would you do that? Well, why are you making this change? And they're like, well, because that didn't work. I'm like, well, what? If that didn't work, what was that? What were you trying to accomplish with that? They're like, oh, no, we were just changing stuff. I'm like, oh, my God.
Gotta have a plan.
It's like that. Yeah, they don't have a plan. And I think that's the biggest thing that we're running into around here is a lot of people are like, oh, they want something different, and they want to be involved in something different.
They just don't know.
They just don't know what it is. And so, and all the organizations keep kind of hearing that chatter, and they're like, oh, okay, let's make some changes. But then again, they're not like, all right, well, this is the goal. Let's make changes towards this goal. They're just like, let's make some changes. So
right.
I'm kind of, it's tough, but hey, TSEC, our local, our regional enduro series here in Texas, they're making a lot of great changes. And I think they have the goal in mind that they're trying to boost enduro knowledge in the South, especially in Texas. Obviously, that's kind of the region, but we're a big state, so we can pull a lot of people. And for a long time, with timekeepers and things like that, we were seeing numbers dwindle. So we've actually gone to like the full national format. We've gotten rid of a lot of other series, like smaller series that were a part of Texas. So it's helped, I think, to really kind of to grow it. They actually even start now. They have a pro purse, which is kind of unheard of. Do you guys? How do the enduros up there? Do you guys? Is there any chance that you guys have enduros? I mean, like pro purses? Are there still timekeepers and things like that?
I know Netra has enduros with timekeeping. I don't really know too much about it. But yeah, they definitely have that. I don't think they have a pro purse though for those. I think right now just JDay and NESC Motocross has the pro purse.
Yeah, and with the pro purses that you guys get with JDay and for like the Pro 125 and stuff, I personally have no idea, what you guys make and how it kind of helps you guys live and stuff like that. So you guys can make a living off of that right now, or is that kind of like subsidiary on top of having to work a full-time job or a part-time job with that kind of the purses that you guys win?
I think if you could definitely make a living racing JDays if you can win every single weekend. Mm-hmm. And if there's races continuously week after week, you could definitely not even work a day in your life and just race JDays.
Nice.
The Pro 125 isn't as much for a win as the AA because there's not as many riders. AA is definitely the most, but yeah, it pays out pretty good. Nice. It's 100% pro payback, so however many riders, it goes into the pro purse. Right.
Ooh, here's a good question. And I've actually thought this was a good idea. For a long time, it was kind of like whenever the pro race is about to come up, they can't put anything on the line to say hold a spot or anything like that until the race ahead of them takes off or until, say, the riders meeting is over. if they were happen to be the first race. But what they started doing the past couple of years, they started doing a drawing right there on the line. So that way it's much more random, and it's not just the first person that gets to the line can get, you know, whatever they think is the best spot, and then from there they have to fan out. So I was wondering, how do you guys do that on the line? How do you guys at JDay pick kind of your line choices or your starting line choice?
Yeah. For a while, it was just like a free-for-all. Everybody, once the race before takes off, everybody, it's like a battle to the line to get your spot. But recently, John's been calling numbers from the top 10 in the championship.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we get our spots now. So it works pretty good.
Yeah, I really like that idea. That was a big thing we did in mountain bike racing. Was if it was the first race of the year, they would do a drawing, because that way it's a little bit more random and it's not a free for all. But then second, third, fourth race after that, they just went off the top 10, and then so the top 10 would start on the first row, and then everybody after that, if you weren't in the top 10, they would start on the back. They would have to start behind them. So that way, at least the top 10, the people that are in the points, that are serious about it and want to follow the series, you know, they have the best pick, and they don't have anybody trying to, you know, pinch them off in a turn or anything like that, or sprint right next to them if they're like either in 15th or 20th, or maybe just like showing up for a one-day off race, which I think is pretty smart. So it's cool to know that you guys kind of follow along with that as well. I think that's a smart way to do it. I think that's even better than the random drawing.
Yeah, definitely. It keeps it organized, keeps everybody in line.
And it kind of rewards you guys a little bit more, too. Like, you know, if you're first place, you know, going into the series, it's the last race, you get first pick. When you guys do the second moto of 2 for the day, does that go off your first race, or do you guys pick off again your points?
I'm not quite sure, but I think what he was doing is calling numbers how you finish first moto.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that makes sense too, kind of change it up, because if somebody had a fantastic day, you know, in that first moto, but maybe they're like 5th in points, you know, get first, they get a little bit better pick that way.
I could be wrong on that. I'm not sure.
That's okay. I'm going to trust you, Kyle.
All right.
So that's it. It's set in stone. If it's that the way it is, that's the way it's moving forward. We're just going to call John and tell him that you've changed the rules.
I know, Johnny, I changed the rules. Sorry.
It's happening. It's happening. Well, dude, what else has been going on? Anything else you're excited about in life? I mean, it's October. The year's almost over. Anything big for 2015?
Not much, man. I'm just going to finish off the year strong, and hope to get on some new bikes soon and go into the winter and do a lot of snow riding and stuff like that. Try and stay healthy, but I don't know. I'm excited about next year. I'm excited about the regular series, and definitely those. If John does the Sprint Enduro series, I'm definitely going to hit those up. Definitely some GNCCs this summer for sure, and this winter, I mean, hit up the one in Florida, Georgia, probably.
Awesome.
Yep.
That should be wicked. Well, it was cool. We just got an email from Tara Santhason. I think she said Santhason. Yeah, so she even emailed me to tell me how to pronounce Bob's last name, and hers as well. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. I know I butchered it. But she said that you actually also run the JDay Pee Wee series. Yeah,
that's right. I'm the Pee Wee coordinator for the series. So I'll I set up the courses for the little guys and make a cool Pee Wee Extreme sections for them, just like the big track.
Yeah.
Drop the flag for them in the morning, and just try and help the guys out as much as I can, because they're definitely the future of the sport, and I want to see it grow with JDay.
Yeah, no, for sure. How did you guys bring about the kind of like the Pee Wee Extreme section? We've seen that show up at a couple TCCRAs here in Texas. I'm totally for it. I think it's awesome, because it really does. It gives them kind of a little chance to kind of try some extreme stuff, and definitely way better than just a flat turn track or anything.
Definitely, it was just an idea John came up with, and he brought it to me. He just thought, well, if the big guys can get the extreme section, why can't the Pee Wees get it? And we can make it pretty difficult and pretty cool, but at the same time, you got to think the little PWs, the small 4-year-olds, got to. At the same time, it can be cool as hell.
Yeah, and we this past weekend, my buddy James Hill, who was kind of helping out, he's a TCCRA staff member. He said that the kids were riding the little extreme sections so much that they had to go and rebuild it like 3 or 4 times because like all the logs and stuff that they had like staked into the ground or shoveled in with dirt were just totally getting blown everywhere, and they had to rebuild it a bunch of times. And I was like, "Are you sure you didn't build it right the first time?" He swore to me they did. So having not touched it at all, I trust him.
Right. Yeah, the kids love that stuff, man. It's crazy. Same here. If you could let them rip the Pee Wee Extreme section all day, they totally would.
So
I love it.
What I'm trying to think about it. What is the Loud Fuel Company? Did I get that right?
Yeah, Loud Fuel, yeah.
Okay, explain that to me because they talk about growing trees and all this kinds of stuff. So can you break that down for us so we can kind of like learn a little bit more about that?
All right, so you got Cabral Tasha, who is the owner of Loud Fuel Co., which is his company. It's a gas company. He also sells the cans of VP at the races. And Scott Keller, who does the reforest the tropics.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Keller kind of promotes Loud Fuel in a way. And if you buy gas through him, a percentage of that goes towards his foundation to reforest the tropics.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a website and everything.
Stop it. If it's on the internet, we know it's real.
Yeah.
No, I think that's really smart. There's a lot of people out there doing a ton of logging, and honestly, if we just log shit and never replant, then you know what? It'll never come back, and it is gone.
That's it.
So, but the tropics, you say it's specific. It sounds like you're saying it's specific to the tropics. What does that mean? It's like literally like South America or Central America, or?
Yeah, I believe so. It's somewhere down there, South America.
Okay. Do you know the website offhand so I could check out and learn a little bit more about it? The reforestation part.
I'm not sure on the website exactly, but if you Google reforest the tropics, I'm sure something will pop up.
Let's do it. Reforest tropics. Reforest the tropics. Yep. Reforestthetropics.org. Bam. Put that in the chat room for all the little fun kids. Yay. I like it. I'm going to learn more about this. Cool. Well, Mr. Kyle, what else you got for us, man?
Not much, man. I don't know. What do you got for me?
Hey, did you watch the Monster Energy Cup?
Yeah, I actually watched it last night. I recorded it. Me and my pop watched it at like midnight last night. It was pretty good.
It was pretty good. It's funny. I was listening to the Pulp MX show, and they were bagging the shit on it. And I don't know if it's because of the fact that they're, media people and past professional racers that are on that show and stuff. I guess I kind of look at it at a much less granular view, and more just the pure entertainment factor of it. And I enjoyed it. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Now, I do completely agree that it was too long. The 4 hours or 3 hours or whatever was just too long. Just like the straight rhythm, that was too long too, especially for, the type of racing. But other than that, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun to watch, and it's cool that they try different stuff. I wish the track was different. It just felt like it did feel kind of a boring track, but other than that.
Yeah, so. I think it would have been cool if they added some more cool obstacles, maybe some sand or maybe a little wood section or something.
Oh my God, Steve Mathis would jump through the computer screen and beat your ass right now. It's so funny listening to that shit because it's like, I guess I get it. Like, he's not trying to bag on off-road guys, but whenever he has Zach Osborne on or anybody brings up the fact that Zach Osborne does so well at the GNCCs and the JDay that he did, and then, of course, the ISDE, he's like, he is a motocross, supercross rider. That's where he makes his money. He shouldn't be doing that shit. And it's just like, oh, God. Like, he's very adamant about not being okay with it.
I know, right?
So, but hey. There's a lot of other shit that guy says that people don't agree with, so I guess it's okay that I don't agree with that, right?
Yeah, that's true.
All right, man. Well, cool. Well, who's been helping you a ton, really, so we can, make sure that they get their due diligence, and we'll get Jacob Argubright on the line, and we'll keep on keeping on.
Definitely, man. I want to thank Tara Sanson for setting this whole thing up, and also taking pics at the races. She's really good with that, and Elaine DeFeo for taking pictures. But definitely got to thank Brooks Hamilton from KTM and Motorsports Nation for the bikes, REP Suspension, Pete Cycle and Sled, Cabral from Loud Fuel, V-Rubber, PG Graphics, USWE, Hydration Packs.
USWE! Swedish.
USWE, yeah. Enduro Engineering, Pivot Works, Vertex, DEP Pipes, Sick Nasty Clothing, EVS Sports, a big one, Fuck You MC, for they've been a really big guy, big supporter of me this year. Nihilo, Moto Tassinari, Everrev, and Recluse. And my pops.
Yeah, I bet, man. It sounds like that dude goes everywhere with you.
Dude, that dude is such a trooper. He's the man.
That's awesome. Well, that's what dads are supposed to do, right? I mean,
Exactly.
There are dads out there who probably go over the top sometimes and try to control it, and then there's dads that don't even give a shit. So the ones that just go out, the ones that, and I feel my dad's this way. He doesn't really try to say what I'm doing is wrong sometimes when he thinks I might be not be doing whatever we're doing together the right way, but he just likes to be with me, and I like to be with him, and we just spend that time together. So, that kind of shit's cool, and he's really supportive, and man, I can tell you so many nights in different garages working on different projects or different bikes or in, tents camping for a race or whatever. So it's cool that your dad's the same way, because I know it's been a great experience with my own, so.
Yeah, absolutely, man. My dad loves it. He wouldn't want to be anywhere else, so we're going to keep on keeping on.
Absolutely, dude. Well, thank you very much for coming on your inaugural Seat Time episode. We'll definitely have to do it again in the future. If I could say one thing to you, if I had one piece of advice for you right now, it would just be to keep kicking ass, because you're doing a great job. So I don't have to really tell you anything.
Oh, yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm going to keep doing that, my best, and I appreciate you having me on, man. It was
Absolutely.
Cool.
No, and big thanks to all the ladies there at the JDay, because they are super big supporters of us, and we love that, and they're so nice to us for one, hooking us up with you guys, and just kind of helping support us, so it's awesome. So, yeah, we love our JDay fans, and they're cool-ass people, so we really appreciate it.
Well, we love Seat Time.
Bam! You take it easy, my friend, and we'll be in touch soon.
All right, man. Sounds good. Thanks.
Later. Woo!
Yeah.
So, Mr. Kyle Hangos. I like Hangos better because it does remind me of Angus Young, as if he were in AC/DC. So we could go ahead and get that set up. We're going to have Jacob Argubright on, and it's fun because he's going to be under the Skype of his girlfriend, Meg Blackburn, she's a very, very nice lady. She helps run a lot of the Verb off-road stuff there with Verb Moto. I'm looking forward to that. So we were talking a lot about fly racing. Obviously, they've got their 2015 gear. The 2015 gear is phenomenal. I had a fantastic time racing with it this past weekend. I think you even have a couple pictures of me, Steven, racing in that kinetic glitch gear, which is just a good time for everybody, looking all hot and sexy. Of course, Stillwell Performance, they make your suspension suck less. And I say that in jest because they are fantastic suspension tuners. Not only do they know how to work your suspension correctly, but they know how to do it for the type of riding that you do. So what you want to make sure you do is at least email them and tell them the type of riding. You're going to fill out a nice big long survey for them. Then spend some time on a phone call with Alan and actually going through, how you want your suspension to do this, how much you weigh, all this. I mean, I could tell you everything, but I don't remember it, so I'm not going to. StillwellPerformance.com, they're going to be able to tell you much more about it than I am. What I'm going to tell you is that they gonna sell you on it. Their 4CS shit is the bomb. Dirt Rider gave them like 5 stars on it, so we really appreciate their support. Mr. Jacob Argubright, how is your evening going, kind sir?
Pretty darn awesome. I just got home from riding.
Nice. Like riding your dirt bike or riding your bicycle or
riding my dirt bike
nice.
Out in the desert.
Any more 360s?
No, I'm done with that for the week. I got to get ready to race.
Look, I gotta get really, really ready to race.
Yeah.
We don't need any accidental broken ankles or anything like that.
Yeah, it's kind of close, but no, we're good.
I bet. That's got to be dangerous, those little foot plants you were doing on that log. Could be fun. Have you ever done much BMX? Is that something that you think that you would have carried over from there, or you just kind of picked it up and went with it?
I just kind of picked it up. No BMX for me. These bikes are too small. I got the idea from Colton. I mean,
yeah.
I saw him do it, and it just inspired me to go do it.
Hell yeah, that's the way to do it. I mean, I'm glad that did that, because it's those kinds of little pieces of information that we pick up throughout our life that they leave impressions on us and really help us kind of, try all these crazy new different things. It's like, I know people have tried to do splats before when they didn't know what the hell that was, because of Colton Hare when he splats on that damn house and like jumps up on top of it.
Yeah.
And then you, of course, trying the 270, which is kind of, I guess 270, 360, we'll call it whatever, but. So.
It's not quite a 360. I'm not going to call it that till I can land all the way forward. But
right.
Like you said, Colton did it, and I thought it was like the coolest thing ever. And now I want to get all the way around and do it. Damn,
this is going to be like a straight up competition now. Well, I kind of wish that you did have a little bit of BMX or even like some some bicycle knowledge trying a 360. I'd love to know how the centrifugal force of that motorcycle feels different compared to a BMX bike.
Well, I can tell you a 2-stroke is easier than a 4-stroke. I thought like a 4-stroke would be easier because I was doing it with my 2-stroke, and I switched and thought I'd have a little bit more like oomph to turn, but I actually went back to the 2-stroke.
Okay. And was it kind of that bike weight, the running weight, like the way that the engine running and everything like that it just kind of seemed to spin easier?
Yeah, and I started doing the 360s on the 2-strokes. I think I was more confident in it.
Okay, yeah.
And like I actually, because I didn't know what to do, like I just started doing it. I made a jump and made like a half-ass foam pit. I piled a bunch of dirt, and I was going like actually jumping up like a step up.
Uh-huh.
And if I tried to go like faster, I wouldn't spin as much. If I tried to spin too hard, like I wouldn't like go high enough. So I actually switched jumps and jumped down the hill to get me a little bit more hang time. And now like I don't even have to spin that hard, and I can get it. So now, after this weekend, after a race, I'll probably be back there trying to get
right? I like it. Well, let's see. It looks like he's having a little bit of trouble with connection, but we'll see if he can hear me. So do you think that if you got invited by Travis Pastrana to Pastrana Land to go try out some tricks, would you go?
I'd be there in less than a heartbeat.
You say it like you might have already been invited. Have you been?
No. I would have posted something on it. He probably won't invite.
I mean, I can tell you right now, seat time is absolutely nothing in the world of things. But I do have Jolene Von Hoyt's number. She's not too stoked on that because I text her all the time and I kind of creep her out. But hey, I'm okay with it, so it's what it is. But I'll at least text her more and tell her that you should be in their next movie, and we'll see what happens. She'll probably just call the cops on me, but
yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, hey, I mean, as long as we get it videotaped, it's something, right? It's for the show.
Yeah.
Seat time for life, brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, dude, I was going to ask you, when do you think it was? It was this year. Well, when was the date that you were last on seat time? We'll go with the month.
Probably around May.
Wow, it was totally January, I believe. Because it was right after, wasn't it right after you did the Husky stuff? It wasn't. It looks like episode 1.
I feel like it was after I won a Hare and Hangos. Maybe it was. I don't know.
Maybe. Let's do some research. I thought I had done some research, but then all of a sudden you're making me doubt myself. Argubright on Seat Time. So that's what's so cool. You can go to seattime.co.
So wasn't it with you, man? How was Baja?
Dude, Baja was freaking awesome. I mean, yeah. It sucked that I blew up my bike, but hey, shit happens. But I still really enjoyed it. We got the SP prepped and rode it on the fourth day. It was awesome. Oh, absolutely. Have you in your life, have you ever done a national, not a national enduro, but have you ever done a traditional timekeeping enduro?
Yes, I actually have a mini #1 plate in timekeeping.
Nice. Well, rally to me is kind of like timekeeping enduros on steroids. It's the whole next level of that, where you're not exactly timekeeping in the sense of looking for possibles, but you're riding every possible because you're literally your navigation, your route book, is your navigation. So it used to just be your route sheet, which had possibles on it and all the math that you had to do. Now you're just literally using that. It's bigger for navigation. It's really cool. I didn't ride all that fast, and that's okay. That wasn't the purpose for me. That's the purpose for guys like yourself, and when Kurt was out there and all that kinds of stuff. Like, you guys go fast. But for me, it was just a whole new, awesome, fantastic experience. And the Baja Rally is right here. I mean, you don't have to. Because I was talking to guys about going to Europe to do another rally, and they're like, "Yep, I hope you have at least $7,000 somewhere." And I was like, "What?" And because of the travel, it's so much to travel. Where the Baja Rally has like a $2,500 entry fee, but on top of that,
it is. And you know what? Mexico is awesome.
Yeah. Do you get a chance to ride down there that much? I had never ridden there before, so I was very,
No.
Go ahead.
I'm like you. I went down to Mexico for the first time this year for the Baja Beach Bash, and I had like the best time. It was probably one of the best riding experiences of my life.
Yeah. I was just completely blown away. There was a time on that fourth day when I was on the 1986 SP200 trying to cook it at like 30 miles an hour on this soaked-ass beach, but it was just all beach for a bunch of kilometers just clicking away, and it had cliffs on my right and just Pacific Ocean on my left. And I was just like, this is insane. Like, you don't get this anywhere else. Like, I could not believe what I was seeing. I wish I'd had more power.
It feels so illegal.
It really does. Yeah, you're like waving at people and they're like waving back, not flipping you off. You're like, this is strange, man. No, it's a ton of fun, dude. Baja was kick-ass. And the Baja Rally, I think I don't know that the dates are official yet, but I think it's like September 27th through October 3rd or 4th next year. So they moved it back just a little bit, and this time they decided they're going to try to make it a little bit more midweek so that people can still travel home after the fact. So definitely look into it, dude. I know your mechanic did it. Charles Joseph did it.
That's why I was so interested, because I know he like almost won a stage, and he was doing it really well, and he won his class, and I was like totally pumped for him.
Yeah. And, on the first day, did you know that he beat me by 1 second?
Yeah, I saw that. I was pumped. I was so pumped.
Yeah, you were like, way to kick that guy's ass. He sucks.
That's right.
No good for anybody. Well, let's talk about people winning shit, which what you did earlier this year. You won the AMA West Hare Scrambles Championship on your new factory Husky ride. How badass is that, dude?
It's amazing. I'm pumped. Like, obviously I want to win more, but it was such a cool moment, and like it's still like it's unreal, and I'm pretty pumped, and it almost makes
people breaking into my apartment worth it.
Yeah, it almost makes next year almost a little easier because I know what I got to do, and I know what I've been doing is working.
Right.
So it's definitely a confidence booster.
I like it. Well, we did a lot of talking with Andrew DeLong earlier when we had him on earlier in the year, and then of course after the National Enduro Championship that he won, about the team with Husky. Kind of like we didn't really know how that team being formulated so quickly. The bikes kind of like being the rebranded Huskies, and some of them or Husabergs, and some of them being KTM's. Like how the team was going to adjust. We knew riders could kind of adjust really quickly, but maybe not having the support there within the team, that there probably weren't too many high expectations put on the riders. So how do you feel, having come to the year, gone through the year, won the championship, that the team did, kind of for you as the rider?
No, I'm pumped. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it was rough in the beginning, but what can you expect? They got everything ready so quickly. They switched buildings and just trying to get like parts and stuff and figure out sponsors, and like it's nice that I can do my job and get a championship.
Right.
And it helps for next year, and now that things are smoothing out, we can focus more on making sure everything's good and just running smoothly and functioning like a full race team.
Right. So along with the West Hare Scrambles, you've also done a lot of done the National Hare and Hounds, which you had been doing previous. I've seen you at a handful of enduro crosses, but not all of them. What else have you been up to this year?
Just doing enduro cross, the Hare and Hounds, Hare Scrambles. What else? I did some Big Six.
Okay, yeah. How do those relate to the break down? How that changes for being kind of a mid coast guy, if you will, a third coast. How do all those the different series on the West Coast kind of change up? Are they all really just Hare Scrambles, but they're just called different things, like the West Hare Scrambles, the Big Six, and the Hare and Hounds and stuff?
They're different. Like every series is different.
Okay.
The Hare Scrambles should truly be like I don't know the miles, like a 15-mile loop you do for 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
There should be no motocross, and there's no rule that it should be in the trees, but it should be in the trees. I call it like the West Coast Tree Series.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it should be, because like the Hare and Hound is the Desert Series,
mm-hmm.
and a Grand Prix should have motocross and off-road.
Okay.
I know like the Hare Scrambles was struggling to get around, so they used some of the GPs, which I mean I get that they had to do. I know they're not doing it next year, and I'm more pumped because I like actual Hare Scrambles better.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're totally different. Each race is definitely different.
Okay. So obviously you did extremely well at the Hare Scrambles, winning the championship. Even won it early. I believe you wrapped it up at the ranch. So then how do you like the Big Sixes? I mean, have you had success there? How do you feel about those events?
Yeah, I've had pretty good success there. I'm starting to like them a lot. I never used to like them. Not a big fan of motocross, nor am I good at it, but
Right.
I'm practicing really hard. And it's nice to see improvement. And like at the last one, I was racing with Robbie Bell, and like I was actually battling with him. And a year ago, he'd be 2 minutes in front of me. So it's such a big improvement that it just makes me happy.
Right. What are some of the things that you focus on when you do you practice specific motocross kind of things, or do you just kind of maybe add that in every now and again to your training regimen?
I do a lot of it. It's good for fitness. I do a lot of motos, and I do some techniques and stuff. And it's just really good for fitness. I mean, if you want to be a better off-road rider, you go put 3 30-minute motos on at Glen Helen when it's rough, and you'll be better.
Whew. I don't know. I've never ridden Glen Helen at all, and riding it when it's rough sounds painful.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, that's true. Dang it. Well, so Hare and Hounds, how have those gone for you this year?
Bad. It's just dumb, unfortunate luck. Hey Moto. I had to miss one because I had to go to Hare Scrambles, which I've never missed a Hare and Hound in my life, which really sucked. I've been riding good, just a lot of unfortunate events that hopefully we're really working to get all the kinks out, so next year I won't have any problems.
Right. Okay. When it comes down to the bike, to the Husky that you're riding now, what do you think was your biggest change that you made to the bike? Maybe to setup or suspension or any of that kind of stuff that was just like, holy crap, I need to change this.
I would, if you asked me 6 months ago, I would say not the frame, but I would say the frame, because to me, it's a lot more rigid, which I've noticed helps me in like motocross. I don't know why, but I've noticed I've improved because of it. But in off-road, like in the desert, it's a little bit like more stiff, so it doesn't absorb as well. But with the suspension we got and like the WP suspension, it totally makes up for it.
Awesome. Did you have any changes when it comes to the throttle body or anything within your carburetor and the EFI, or the EFI and the EFI carburetor? I don't know what the technical term for that is, but you know what I'm talking about.
What do you mean?
So talking to Andrew DeLong, one of the biggest things that he said that he changed, that he had some success with, was swapping out the throttle bodies. And I asked him at first, we've kind of talked this a little bit on the show, I asked him at first, I was like, oh, do you mean like the throttle cam, like at the handlebar? And he's like, no, the throttle body within the actual EFI setup. And that's kind of where I was like, oh, okay, cool. And you could see like the deer in headlights, like, oh, the throttle body. Okay. So.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't know what that would change, but I mean, like, along those lines, we put a bigger motor in it. That always helps.
Yeah. Oh, I like bigger. Bigger's always better. It is. Somebody
that's right.
Somebody in the chat room was asking, what forks do you run? Do you know if you run the cone valve forks?
Yes, I do.
Ooh.
And you know what? I run the cone valve, but on my Endurocross bike, I run the Force Yes bone stock, and they are so good. I mean, they're a little bit soft for my weight, but they are so good for Endurocross. Like through the rocks, they're really good.
Yeah, they're. I rode when I rode the FE 350 at the Concho Enduro. The front end was like ridiculously soft. It sucked because that race is is very fast paced. So in a lot of the turns, I would come in and it would dive on me because it was so soft. But for Endurocross, where I don't think you're kind of coming in with that hot speed like that, it could work a lot better in the turns, and especially like you're saying over the rocks and over the obstacles, man, that could be a shit ton better.
Yeah. No, yeah. Definitely any set of WF forks, like, have my thumbs up.
Awesome. Well, that's good to hear. Although, if you're a fan of Seat Time, you would prefer to go to stillwellperformance.com and check out what they would be able to do to make your Endurocross suspension that much better. Speaking of Seat Time sponsors, our good buddies over at the Fast family at Fast Company, they wanted to say hi. They say they miss you. They wish they could harass you more in person now. And I believe Cole's kids actually were asking, now that your hands are sore all the time, how do you actually hold up your phone?
They're not sore. Cole, they're not sore. They're doing just fine.
He's like, so you're gonna have Jacob Argubright on tonight, huh? I was like, yes. He's like, okay. Blah, 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 blah. I was like, this will be fun. Okay.
Perfect. Look at it.
He's like, this is just for me touching it with my penis. This is not for my handlebars at all. Okay. Duh, guys. Duh. So it sounds like we're going to have more Endurocrosses next year. I don't know the exact number, but
is that official?
I don't know that it's official. Yeah, I'm wondering too, because I've seen Lance traveling around the country, posting pictures of different places that they might be having them, and it sounds like they're going to have the one in Fort Worth there in the stockyard. So that's going to be cool. It's super close to us. So I would assume that means that they're going to be having, the 8 rounds up to 12 or whatever that they've been talking about. What is it?
I heard 14 and
holy shit,
Daytona.
That's crazy.
So I don't know. I mean, it's cool, but it makes it hard to do the whole series.
Yeah.
But I guess it makes it more like Supercross and makes it bigger, which is a good step in, the direction.
And I'm wondering too about TV, because we got a chance to do the live webcast in Atlanta. It was awesome. We wish we would have been able to have more chances to do more, to obviously to do better. We weren't 100% about it. We had a fun time doing it, but we want to tighten it up, if you will. They're not doing that. Their TV package that they have, that just doesn't allow for that. Okay, cool. But apparently they're working on a different TV package for 2015. We do not know if there's going to be live webcast involved in that. It would make sense, unless, of course, that they're going to be actually getting some kind of live TV coverage. I don't know if that's the case or not. Have you heard anything about that maybe being the case?
I like when they do live, because when I wasn't at Everett, I was following on Twitter, and I wish I could have seen it live, because Twitter just doesn't do it justice.
Right.
And I like being able to watch and see everything.
Yeah, I agree. And we would have loved to have been able to do that more, but of course it just costs money, and it's money we don't have, and so we had to rely on them to say, yes, we will pay you to come do it, which they didn't do again. So it didn't happen. That's the way business happens, people. Teach your kids that kind of stuff. I don't know. So 2015, National Hare and Hounds, West Hare Scrambles again. Kind of what's your talking with Husky for your schedule looking like?
Kind of in the middle right now. Well, I mean, we have a verbal agreement for next year. I think I'm going to do the Hare and Hounds, Hare Scrambles, and I think I may be trying Works.
Oh, very cool.
It makes it simpler on me. I mean, I love Endurocross, but like training and riding for it. I'm just better at like longer 2-hour races than I am at short course racing, I guess.
Right.
So.
No, that'd be really cool, especially with getting a chance, like you were saying, about practicing some motocross. Not that Works is just motocross, but that they do have kind of that faster pace, that kind of sprint speed, I think would be beneficial there in some of the work events. We just had Sean Reddish on, actually, a couple weeks ago. We're talking to him about how they're kind of partnering up with the MAXC there on the East Coast to bring Works racing, the style of Works racing, to the East Coast. So if talking about any kind of Works, do you think you would be able to make it out to any of those kind of East Coast rounds to kind of just bring some bigger name and some factory out to those events?
I mean, maybe. I mean, I'll be doing, let's see, 10 Hare and Hounds, or 8 Hare and Hounds, 8 Hare Scrambles, and then how many ever Works. So that's a lot. Almost 30 races. So I'm sure I could fit maybe 1 or 2 depending on where they are.
Right.
And like, it just sucks that there's so many series. Like, I know there's one weekend in May that's like Supercross, Endurocross, Hare Scrambles, Hare and Hound, and Big Six, like all in the same weekend. So it's like I can't be in 3 places at once.
Right. I mean, you could, but it would really hurt.
It would really hurt, yes.
I mean, that would be very painful, unfortunately. Have you heard anything about Husky doing a GNCC team?
What do you mean? Like a separate?
Yeah, like, no, I know you wouldn't be. Well, not that I don't know that. I don't think you would be. But have you heard any talk about, like, there being, like, an offshoot, like, Husky GNCC team?
Like a support team?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything. I'm just asking questions.
Isn't that what Air Group Radiant is?
No, but they're mainly National Enduros. So yes, Air Group Radiant Racing is. So Nick Farringer was doing the OMAs and the National Enduros. He did like 1 or 2 GNCCs, but that wasn't the focus. The focus was the National Enduros. So I didn't know if it was
focus.
I know that's what I think.
That's who I know in the West Coast to be the B team on the East Coast, and they do a good job. You know, I always see their stuff, and that's who I thought, and maybe they should.
Yeah, it would be cool. It's interesting because we see guys like Stuart Baylor, talking about not having a ride for next year. He had a 2-year deal with KTM and the possibility of a 3rd year if he won a championship within one of those 2 years. Obviously, with all the wrist injuries that he's had, he didn't get a championship, so he's not going to get that 3rd year with KTM. So it's interesting to see guys like him talking about not having a ride and having to put something together. And so I would just think it's like, oh, it looks like there could be money, but maybe it's not. I don't know. So that's why I just asked, like, are there other teams coming around? Like, Beta seems to be making a little bit more of a push, which is cool.
Yeah,
so
hopefully Yamaha comes around. But yeah, no, it's. I mean, I'm so blessed to have a factory ride. I mean, it's a hard thing to come by, and like in Stuart's case, that just sucks. He's had all these injuries. I know he rips, but it just happens.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I can stay healthy.
Yeah. So the guys are getting ready to leave for the ISDE. We just had AIM Expo this past weekend, getting ready to leave for the ISDE. Any kind of thoughts on all the stuff that's been going on, kind of outside, I guess, just of our specific off-roadness?
Wait, what? Sorry, I was watching my dog.
No, you were what?
Sorry, he's trying to hump.
Whoa. Well, that's the kind of stuff that happens on Seed Time. We're okay with dog humping.
Okay.
Okay. So like the guys are getting ready to head off for the ISDE. I would imagine that would be something that in the future that you would be really stoked to take part in.
Yeah. I definitely want to make it a plan for the future. I think I've honed in enough skill to do it, and it's definitely a possibility for next year.
Now that we've seen kind of the sprint enduros pick up a little bit in the States with JDay putting one on, and I say pick up, when I say that, I mean getting more coverage, more media coverage, more, people, they're kind of coming a little bit more into the limelight. Obviously, other events have put them, or other series have put them on. But so like JDay and Full Gas kind of come to mind as like being really well covered, really professionally put on. Would you hope that something like that would happen on the West Coast, so that you could get a real chance to practice that style of race format?
Yeah, I would be totally stoked. I mean, it looks cool. Like, I love looking at JDay photos because they like groom the courses all nice. Like, it makes me want to ride it. and yeah, like the sprint enduros look really fun, and like it just seems like an off race that's fun along like the Red Bull Straight Rhythm.
Yeah.
I think they should do like I guess at the World Enduro on Fridays they have like a prologue. It's like a 2-man enduro cross.
Yep.
With like the ribbon in the middle so you can't cross. I think they need to do that with it. They just need to make it a fun weekend.
Yeah. Yep. I totally agree. It sounds like something that I've already been trying to work on.
Maybe you should come out here and put one on.
I'll send you the URL when I get it up.
hey, if you want to come put one on, the Hare and Hound Association would be glad to help you out.
That would be cool. That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, no, me and my buddy Mark Cook have been talking about it a lot. We've been talking to some other promoters, trying to just figure out a way. Because our biggest thing is I personally don't want to be a race promoter. I don't want to spend 20 grand or 15 grand or whatever it costs to buy a bunch of timing equipment, get a trailer, all that kind of. That's not what I want. What I want
to be the hype man.
Well, I just want to help put this stuff on. I really enjoy it. Like, I feel like I have decent ideas. I'm a hard-ass worker, and I'm willing to put a lot of time and effort into this kind of stuff. But I don't, the benefit I'm going to get out of it just needs to be a good damn time. And at this point, obviously, let's get some good coverage for seat time. Why not, right?
Yeah.
But I don't need to try to, like, make a whole living off of being a race promoter. That's not what I want out of it. So that's why it's really tough for me and some of the other people I talk to is because we don't have that kind of capital, nor do we want to try to raise it because we don't want to be series promoters.
Yeah. And, we got, like, I know you've had Eric Kula on there. He's such a good promoter out here in the West Coast, and I hope some people from the Hare and Hound Association are listening. So maybe they'll step up to the plate.
That would be cool. That'd be a lot of fun, too. I think a big thing is that what's so neat about the sprint enduro is as long as it's just like with everything else where you're kind of like, oh, the National Enduro at Concho is not happening this year. Why? Because it was a 3-hour drive from the DFW airport. Well, now they're going to have an event that's about 45 minutes from the DFW airport. So same kind of thing. We put a sprint enduro somewhere where we can get decent internet coverage. Then we have everything so close that we could possibly have almost an entire live event coverage based around a certain time. Maybe once we video during the first part of the day, showcase some of that footage in the back half, but then do some live coverage of what's going on, and then kind of wrap it up as it starts to come to a fruition. Make it like an hour and a half, 2 hour long program. Something like that could work. But out in the middle of nowhere, like the Concho Enduro was, no, that couldn't have worked. Like so,
and that's like half the problem the Hare and Hound Association faces. It's just being out in the middle of nowhere, like trying to put on the show. It's hard, and if you can make it more accessible, like you're saying, it definitely helps.
So it's interesting. Well, it's cool. Idaho Joe from Lacluse, we were talking with him, and that guy is so intelligent when it comes to formats and the ISDE and all that kinds of stuff. And I think we're gonna have to get him back on so that we can talk about this. We're obviously coming into a lot of the series are either over or they're like 1 or 2 races from being over. So we're going to be coming into that point where it's going to time to do that. We're going to be able to just sit down with people like yourself or like Idaho Joe and have conversations about that, the what ifs, the what should, what coulda, and things like that. So that'll be neat. We'll plan for that in the next couple of weeks. That'll be really fun. Cool. Man, I'm wondering, how do we get a lot of ISDE coverage this year? I tried to talk to Jason Hooper to see what was going on, and he said that like, he's not going. There's like the video this year, they're making people pay for packages, and it's really weird. So I'm wondering where we're going to – have you heard? Like, I don't know if Meg's told you much about like how we're going to be able to get good ISDE coverage this year.
I don't know a thing about it.
Yeah.
I mean –
I'm afraid that's the case with a lot of us right now.
Yeah.
Man. Maybe somebody needs to pay me to make that change.
Someone should pay you.
Yes, here's a high five. Go figure it out. Thanks, buddy. You're awesome. Well, dude, so we're looking forward to 2015 for you. As we talked about earlier in the year, super, super stoked. We have seen you work your ass off throughout the past couple of years. Not only has that hard work paid off, but you've gotten a shit ton better. You've won a championship for Husky and for yourself. Obviously, probably for yourself is the most important part of that. Has it been worth it for all the kids that are thinking about that kind of stuff? The hard times where you're like, holy shit, is this ever going to come to fruition? I mean, has the juice been worth the squeeze?
Yes, juice is always worth the squeeze. As long as you're having fun. I mean, if you're having fun and trying your hardest. If you go out and give it your all and fail, so what? I mean, as long as you went out and tried, it's a good story.
I like it. The having fun part's the really, really important part.
And that's a hard thing to remember.
Yeah.
Like, especially with this year becoming factory, it's like a job. I've forgotten that along the way sometimes. I'm kind of coming into it now, having more fun. And even if I don't do well, I'm still happy at the end of the day, which is, you always got to have that.
Yeah. We did have some question in the chat room, and I don't know if there's an answer to this or not, but it said, how is Husky tied in with the KTM race program? Is there a tie-in? I don't know.
They are two completely different race teams with their own budget, their own everything. We actually tried to do different sponsors of them so it would look even more not the same.
Yep.
So, I mean, the only thing is our building is right next to theirs.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, and that's a big thing too. You guys have different test tracks and everything, right? Like, I think the motocross guys, like the Rockstar Energy guys, have a different test track than the KTM guys and all that kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I haven't heard on that. I'm sure they do.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Yeah, no, it's. What about changes? Has any of that kind of stuff started to work down the pipeline for you about like R&D for Husky and how like they're gonna become more of this boutique brand and things like that? Like, what do you know?
I don't know much. I know they really like the subframe. I think they're going to stick with that. I mean, they haven't actually told me, but I hear a lot of compliments on it. And from the factory that they like it. So, I mean, that's about all I know.
Have you heard anything about like logo changes or like branding changes or anything like that? Or like maybe like direct inject two strokes?
No, that would be nice though. I mean, it'd be nice if Husky had it first.
Yeah, you saw Sherco's, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I heard, because I know some trials bikes have them, and I heard it's slower. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, no idea. Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, I think the talk was a production model for 2016 for Sherco. That was obviously the chatter that you saw. Like, I think it was Enduro21.com was kind of the ones that were talking about what some French Enduro website had put up, and that was kind of their speculation for a 2016 production model of that. But yeah, I mean, if it's not as good or better, doesn't seem to be too much of a reason to go towards direct injection. So
yeah.
I also heard a rumor that that there might be another RM250 in the near future, like Suzuki two-stroke.
I didn't hear that. I mean, the world definitely needs more bike manufacturers, like especially off-road. I'm glad Yamaha stepped up to the plate, and hopefully like Kawasaki and like they step back up. I mean, we need competition, not because KTM's doing so well, but we need it.
Yeah. No, and I think you start to see, like, if you look at KTM, they've really started to put a lot more focus on their street bike and adventure bike marketing, and I think it's because of the fact that they know that that at some point they probably know that they've plateaued in the off-road world. Like, it's only so big, they can only sell so many of those orange bikes to everybody.
I mean, they already have like 90% of
of the off-road market,
the off-road population. I mean, they don't need. They got to get the competition back up.
Yeah. So no, we were talking with Kyle a little bit about it on the show before you came on, and yeah, no, I'm super stoked on Yamaha putting that bike out there. I'm so stoked that it kind of like brought back my '07 WR that we had modded out and I had so much fun on. That I was like, oh, that'd be really cool. This is $2,000 cheaper than my KTM. Huh? Like, maybe I should do that. But then, of course, I've got so much support now at the shops here. That it's kind of like the KTM shops and stuff, that it's kind of like, oh, well, I'd have to find a Yamaha dealer to go to. That's just weird. Like, what the hell? So it would be weird, but I guess I could figure it out if that's the way that I really went. So any other points of interest on your mind that you want to get off your chest?
As far as bikes go, not really. As far as series, I know the Hare and Hound and the Hare Scrambles joined up together, so they're planning on making this year even better. They got different rounds. And I know the Hare and Hound has a new pro class, a new 250 pro class, which is like their lights.
Okay.
Because I know there's a lot of 250 riders that don't like to be in the overall pro. because they got to race against us, and on smaller bikes.
Right.
So I think that'll be good. That will help the market. As far as like 250s and get the rider number up.
Very cool. Well, yeah, no, that will be good. There's always talk too about, like, I know we had Nate Canny on one time. We were talking about some GNCC stuff, and he seems to be a proponent for not having the XC2 class. And it's tough because I'm kind of like, well, I don't know. I think it's good to give those guys that chance to kind of, the speed's always going to be a little bit bigger. So what's that?
It's like throwing them in the Shark Tank.
Yeah, I feel that it's like, that you need to kind of like be like, all right, here's the Piranha tank. Like, they're a little bit small. They're just as fast and they're just as fiery, but they're at least a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. Nate Canny, damn, that's another guy we're gonna have to have on, because if nothing else, Nate Canny has opinions, and if you don't have to agree with him, but he's got them and he's good at them. So there you go. Well, cool, man. Well, we really appreciate you having you on. It's always a good time. Yeah, and so, just to throw it out there again, so people know that we would love to have our first proposal on Seat Time. So anytime you and Meg think about that in the near future or in the distant future, okay. It doesn't need to be the official, because obviously this wouldn't be very romantic. But, at some point in time, it'd be cool.
Until what's official?
Oh, shit. No, I was going to... Damn it, you did that on purpose to me, didn't you? No, Meg, don't worry. I'm not trying to talk. I'm into proposing to you on Seat Time.
Okay.
But I told him that it doesn't need to be the official proposal. It could just be like, on Seat Time, but he could do it, more official around the family later.
You never know.
One day? Damn it. It's going to happen, man. It's going to be awesome. So Meg, now that you're sitting there and right next to him, how's everything going at Verb Offroad that you guys have switched over to the Verb Moto kind of conglomerate? You kind of brought everything in under one umbrella.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah? You rolled your eyes, right?
No, it's all right. It's really tough. Making Verb Offroad, I guess having enough resources to be able to cover and do everything that we want to do. And I don't know, I guess it's just easier to have it under one platform right now, and we were hoping that our viewership would increase from even what it was. And it's only been maybe a month or two, right. So it's still in the experimental stage, but it's all right. It's good.
Nice. Well, that's cool. Yeah, no, I know it was a big change for you guys. And having made quite a few websites and run websites as well, that's a shit ton of data to like merge and bring into one big old umbrella. So congratulations on not bringing everything down.
Yeah, thanks, and thanks for your help and your contribution so far.
Oh, absolutely, it's been fun. I love doing that shit, man. It's great. Well, anything big then for Verb Offroad, Verb Moto coming up that we should be on to pay attention for?
I'm not sure about the moto side because I keep busy with everything that I'm doing on the off-road side.
Right.
But
Verb Offroad sends Brian Pierce to ISDE.
Yeah.
To get kicked out of another country.
I heard Argentina's pretty expensive for everybody this year. So
yes.
So that it doesn't help when you struggle to get the industry behind you, and there's other money for bigger things, and it's just where off-road sits right now. So it's tough to round up those dollars to give it the coverage that it deserves, Yeah,
I think Auntie was telling me that it's like an extra $20,000 just for the shipping part of what they would typically spend because of like crazy taxes or something like that. And so he said, just think about the fact that is so expensive. He's like, everything has weird taxes like that. That we just didn't expect, or they kind of knew about but didn't know they were that exorbitant going in. So it's kind of, multiply that across every field, then it's just like, it's ridiculous amounts of money. And it sucks too about the video aspect. From what Hoop was telling me about the fact that he's not even allowed to go video. He's just allowed to say, I want this package, I'm going to pay you this money, and they're just going to give him video footage that's allowed to be played on his website. And I'm like,
video's been a battle for a long time. That's never been an easy thing to get a hold of, and even then you have to have the resources to make it happen and the manpower. So
Yeah.
it's tough. I mean, it takes a lot of people willing to work for free for a while to get the job done and pay it on their own expense, you know.
Damn straight. I loved it in Germany. 2012 was such a fantastic trip, and I think it was because like I was my own boss. Now, granted, it was vacation / learning kind of the industry and learning how to work under those time constraints and all that kind of stuff for myself. But it was awesome, and I would love a chance to do it again. But I think that that's probably the best way to do it is if you can make it happen, go do it for somebody. Offer to take pictures. Offer to write stories. Do it for yourself, you know, and pay your own way because then you're gonna learn. It's a tough job.
Yeah.
it's a
When
tough
are you
job.
going to go race it?
Whenever I get faster.
Should we make a team for 2015?
Yeah, I'm down. I'll be Argubright's bitch any day.
Right.
Because God knows I'm gonna be the support crew. There ain't no way I'm gonna make it onto the team. I would say 3 years ago I might, if the stars had aligned on the 2 days of the qualifier, I might have been able to qualify for the club, one of the club teams, about 3-4 years ago. But now I've got to that. No,
Get on a bicycle, you got it.
I got the fun aspect down now. I've had so much, like this past weekend, I showed up, I raced the vintage race, I raced the expert 38, class. Just had a shit ton of fun. Don't follow a series anymore. Ride when I can, race when I can, and have fun with it. And I'm hoping my kids are gonna get into it. I've found that fun. I found that love aspect of it. I still love racing. Don't get me wrong, but following a series now is so much harder, so much more expensive with kids, all that kinds of crap. That I'm so thankful my wife lets me out when she does. Not lets me out, but doesn't care when I go take that time. That I'm not gonna say, well, it's another weekend, I need to go practice, or I need to this, that, the other. So
That's a badass wife you got there.
I will not disagree with you. She's a pretty kick-ass lady. So, well, cool. Well, anything else on your plate, Meg? Jacob just didn't want to share. He's just being unsharing.
Gets a little shy.
I'm kidding.
I'm sure about the Hare and Hound series.
I know.
No, I'm kidding. I just like to say it because I can.
I'm gonna get that 360 down. I'm gonna start doing tricks with it. I'm gonna do the one-handed swag, and I'm gonna blow it up.
Whoa. Yeah, do it in the off season, bro. Do it in the off season. Don't pull a Josh Hill and try a backflip and break some shit or something.
One more race.
Yeah, so do it after that race.
Our backyard's a disaster right now.
It is not.
As it should be.
We've got 3 different jumps out there and piles of sand and dirt and things everywhere trying to figure out this 360 thing. So
it's just awesome.
I can't wait till Liam's on a pedal bike because then I want to build a pump track in our backyard, but I can't. I don't want him to kill himself before he actually knows how to brake and control himself. So I'm not going to build it until he can actually pedal around and use brakes because he's on his Strider right now and loves that thing. But until he has brakes and knows how to use those, I'm not going to build it just in case. And then the oldest, Kaylin, she's 8, and she loves riding her little YZ80 or PW80, I guess, from back in the day. But I'm hoping that Liam is the one that really kind of pushes her to want to ride more. Hopefully he rides, and then it makes her want to ride more. So we'll see.
Yeah,
that's the idea. And then Nora, she's 7 months and drools on herself. So what do you do? I
still do that. It's okay.
I know I'm not 7 months, and I do that all the time.
Yeah.
I don't drink nearly that much anymore, so luckily I don't drool on myself this year nearly as often. I don't know. Big Buck. Steven and I found some moonshine. That shit got dangerous. I'm glad I didn't fall in that fire.
You guys have that authentic moonshine out your way, huh?
Oh yeah. And we were like, at Big Buck, you're in moonshine country. It was seriously some good moonshine. I'm not blind, so that's a good thing. They know how to make it proper. Well, cool. Well, we don't want to take up too much of you lovebirds' time, and of course we've got our families to get back to. So we appreciate your time. Jacob, thank you so much for kicking ass this year and taking the time to talk to us about it. Meg, thank you as well for stepping away from whatever it was you were doing, maybe getting the dog to stop humping, or
just making Jake a sandwich.
See, that's awesome too that you do that kind of stuff. Damn good sandwich. Was that an Oreo you were snacking on?
Yes.
I'm very jealous of that. It has the gluten. Those bitches.
Oh.
No,
God.
Oreos are gluten-free.
That whole
It's on the packaging.
that thing is no gluten is so overrated.
Oh, dude, it's helped my digestive system so much, but that's a whole nother show, believe me. We'll text about it, bro. We'll text each
Okay.
other. It'll be sexy. I promise. I'll tell you all about the reasons. All right, man. Well, you guys have fun over there on the West Coast. Keep doing what you're doing. We really appreciate it, and we will chat soon.
Sounds good. Thank you for
Thanks,
having us.
Ian.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye. Awesome. So as always, we tend to talk, we tend to chat, we tend to have a little bit of fun, and maybe we talk too much, but that's okay. Great couple. They do so much for this industry, and we really, really appreciate them taking the time to come on the show, of course, and for doing what they do with the industry. So we did get a chance to talk with Kyle Hangos, Hangos the Mangus. Is that good? Does that work? Hangos the Mangus. As our JDay Rippa, and then, of course, Jacob Argubright and Meg Blackburn. They came on there. Still no proposals on seat time. One day we can only hope. It would be awesome. Big thanks again to Fly Racing. You can check them out at flyracing.com. Stillwell Performance, stillwellperformance.com, and Fast Company is fastco.com. Great supporters of seat time. Really, really appreciate their support. You can. Seattime.co is the website where you can see all of the archive shows posted there. Of course, facebook.com/seattime. Friend us there. Twitter.com/seattime_co because we like to change it up on you. Actually, you should totally tweet us real hard there. We enjoy the hard tweets. Those are the good ones. Of course, use the hashtag SeatTimeLime when you're watching the show so you can get stuff to us. It's always fun. We're on Instagram, just regular old Seat Time. Stitcher and iTunes. If you like the audio only, search for Seat Time. That's a good way to get the podcast. We have heard a little bit about Stitcher being kind of out of date. I've got some questions out to them, asking them to look into it, so hopefully that gets resolved quickly. We do thank you guys for reaching out to us and telling us. That's the biggest part. We don't know sometimes that this is happening unless you guys get to us, so thank you very much. Hope you guys really appreciate this. We're going to have some cool guests next week as well. Again, like I said, we're going to be kind of coming into that dead area. We like to keep talking. We like to keep doing this kinds of stuff, so probably November, December, we might cut it back to about 2 shows a month. But we want to make sure that those shows are shows that you guys want to tune into while there's not much racing going on. Things maybe you guys want to learn. More mechanic talk. A chance to talk about health and fitness again like we've done with Coach Seiji in the past. Things like that. The book is open. Maybe we could have Alan come on again and do more specific suspension questions. Stuff like that. So let us know. Reach out to us on any of the social platforms and tell us what you want us to talk about. Until then, this has been episode 146. Thank you very much. I am your host, Brian Pierce. Follow me at Woody B. Pierce on just about everything. Have a good night. We will talk to you next time. Always enjoy a pint full of awesome.